Welcome to 502 Entrepreneurs, Louisville's podcast featuring local business owners, entrepreneurs, and side hustlers, all who have a story to tell. I'm your host, Carl Armijo, owner and operator of Carl Armijo Photography. Our guest today is Chad Doerr, a Louisville-based leadership speaker and trainer. It's time to keep it weird with Chad. Before we hop into today's episode, I want to let you know about a contest we have running the month of February. 502 Entrepreneurs has partnered with Louisville-based e-commerce company Unbound Sounds. Unbound Sounds has offered to donate and give away one free pair of Bluetooth headphones valued at $89.99 to one of our lucky listeners. To enter the contest, please visit 502entrepreneurs.com, subscribe to the email list, and you will be automatically entered. Now back to today's episode. Chad, how you doing?
Good, Carl. Good to be with you today.
Yeah, I'm super glad to have you here.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Learn all about your speaking career.
Yeah.
I guess is what you'd call it. So why don't you tell everybody who you are?
All right.
And kind of what you got going on.
My name is Chad Doerr, and I currently serve, my daytime job is as a leadership training consultant at Kentucky Farm Bureau Insurance. So I get the opportunity to work with their leadership to just build out training for leaders around our guiding principles and just to develop people. And so that's also what I do on the side, my side hustle. I kind of do under the umbrella of Chad Doerr Coaching. And as you alluded to earlier, it's speaking, it's training, it's developing people. And so it's something that I'm very, very passionate about. In terms of my role at Kentucky Farm Bureau, I feel like it's a dream job. So the fact that I get to do it by day and by night, I love it.
Now, Kentucky Farm Bureau, is this a company that is national, or is it mainly situated here in Kentucky itself?
We only serve the state of Kentucky.
Okay.
So we are a property and casualty insurance company that just writes in the state. So we're very, very unique in that. So
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Now, in your leadership role with them, are you visiting agents all over the state, or are they coming to you for like a training, or how is that set up?
Yeah, the way we're structured is somewhat unique, and I'm mainly serving those who are employed by Kentucky Farm Bureau. So we have, I think it's 15 regional offices throughout the state. So I will get out occasionally and do some development for them and train them. But our headquarters is based here in Louisville. And so the majority of my training for them is going to take place there at the state office off of Bunsen.
So they'll filter their way to you, and you'll
get
to...
But I have had the opportunity to get out this past spring and summer and travel the state. It's been so much fun. I mean, I love the state of Kentucky, and it's very diverse. I mean, you talk about the eastern part of the state versus the western part of the state.
They're totally different.
They're totally different, and just getting the opportunity to meet different people and different cultures, I absolutely love that part of it.
No, I like that you said that, because like we were talking before we started recording here. I've lived in a lot of states throughout the country in my time, and the different cultures and the different personalities of the different parts of the country and things are very unique in each place. So it's really cool to see that. It's neat to see it within like one state itself. Texas is one of those states where it was like that, and it's so big, and southern Texas, West Texas, they're all different, and
I'm fascinated by that. So it's been, again, that part of my day job. I love, just meeting new people, whether it's, out of the state office or as I get the opportunity to do, to travel the state.
Yeah, that's very cool.
Yeah.
So what's one of like the main topics that you teach on? You say you're teaching leadership and things like that, but that's pretty broad. So if you could narrow it down a little bit.
Yeah, I think, within Farm Bureau, it's, we're really focusing on a lot of our core values, which we call guiding principles. So, at the end of the day, it's about developing people. I mean, we the language we would use there is championing people, but it really is just helping people become the best version of themselves. And so that's a message, honestly, that goes far beyond Farm Bureau. I love to develop people, to get the best out of people, to believe in people. So those are, a lot of my training is going to be calling out the best in people as a leader. And so it's very much built around some of the soft skills that are kind of intangibles that I think as leaders we have to begin to stretch ourselves and grow.
Sure. Yeah, that makes sense.
Communication is huge, so just the interpersonal communication side of leadership, I think, is something that we don't invest in enough. And so, there's so much that goes into being a leader. So those are the things that I'm really focusing on.
Yeah, in my past life, when I used to work for a company called Kiewit, which is like a Fortune 500 engineering and construction company, one of the big things that we talked about all the time was emotional intelligence. I love it. Yeah, man.
I just had a conversation this week actually with two different people. They're like, we want training on emotional intelligence, and so it's a very much of a hot topic, but it is so needed, but it's so deep and such a robust topic. But I love that.
Yeah, back in my younger 20s, my emotional intelligence wasn't as strong as it is now, I would say. I think that's pretty common for younger folks, and as you get older, you kind of learn to control that kind of thing, and just you don't get too involved in the moment at that time, and you're able to kind of step back and think about things before you say them and things like that. But in my early 20s, I couldn't. And I had a manager, and he was like, Carl, you can't do that.
Yeah.
And now you need to read this book. And he gave me Emotional Intelligence 2.0.
Okay. I have that book. I gave it away just last week. I gave my copy away.
Running around here somewhere too. So.
One of my favorite is Primal Leadership by Daniel Goleman. I mean, that book is a classic when it comes to emotional intelligence. So I'm kind of a geek in that regards, man. I just love that topic and just the idea of being aware of yourself and aware of people. And so, I could talk about emotional intelligence for this whole hour.
I bet. Yeah. I mean, I definitely learned a few things by reading that book and things like that.
It's a great book.
I think when you're that age, it's good to know, it's good to understand, and you have to have that self-awareness, but a lot of that comes in with age and experience, in my opinion.
It does, but it's honestly, Carl, it's one of the reasons I love working with young leaders, because it's helping to bring awareness to, that part of leadership that we don't give a lot of attention to, but just that self-awareness piece and being aware of what's going on around you is so, I think, enlightening to young leaders. So that's
absolutely.
Yeah.
So outside of Kentucky Farm Bureau, you're doing a similar thing.
I am. So it is really leadership development. And so that's going to take on a lot of different looks. Customarily, what it looks like is going into organizations and, doing 2 and 3 hour trainings for them, or doing team building events. I do, keynotes on certain topics as well for organizations. And so the funny thing, the interesting thing is, Carl, so I've been at Farm Bureau for 2 years, and the way that I even got my foot in the door there was through my side hustle.
Oh, okay.
So I had reached out to them through a contact and said, hey, this is what I do. Love the opportunity to get in. I was able to do 2 engagements for them from a training perspective. And after the second engagement, they said, hey, we have a brand new role. Would you be, open to coming on and being our leadership training consultant? So my side gig turned into my full gig.
You basically created your own opportunity, which is amazing.
I did.
That's great.
But I have not stopped serving outside of that role. And I have their blessing to do that. But it really is a tremendous opportunity, both within Kentucky Farm Bureau. I really, it is a dream job to me because 90% of my day is either developing training content on, leadership or delivering leadership development. And so for me, that is completely in my sweet spot.
That's your thing.
And that's what I want for anybody, is to have the opportunity to work out of your sweet spot the majority of your day. And anytime you get to do that, I mean, they say, if you get to do what you love, it's not really work.
They say that. I'm not convinced.
Yeah.
I do a lot of things that I love. And they still take a lot of time and energy and mental effort.
But darn it, if you're going to have to work, you might as well enjoy it, right?
Yeah, that's right.
And I absolutely enjoy it.
That's cool. So what's your, on your side, leadership training, who's your ideal client that you're going after? Or who finds you? Or
Yeah, well, I think my ideal client is just probably an organization that has awareness that they need to develop leaders. So there's an appetite there, but maybe they don't have a full-time training department. And so it's those types of organizations that I can come in and kind of assess their needs and find out where some of the gaps are. So maybe it's emotional intelligence, or maybe it's communication, or maybe it's developing trust. And so I can come in and deliver some specific targeted trainings to their leaders. So again, an organization that maybe is to the point that they don't have a training department, or somebody like myself within Farm Bureau that's really honing in on that leadership development piece. And that's probably my ideal client.
Do you find more organizations and companies starting to, see the value and the importance of this leadership training?
I really do. And I mean, I think there is a growing awareness that, the people skills side of things, we've got to begin to pour time and energy and finances towards developing people and helping them to grow in their people skills. One of my good friends is the chief growth officer for a technology company in Ohio. And I said, man, when I grow up, that's what I want to be, is the chief growth officer. And he really primarily works on strategy and people development. That's what he said he does. And I think those are two components that are vitally needed in corporate America.
I think so too. In my experience, smaller companies tend to overlook it. Larger companies and big corporations see the importance of it, and they invest time and money into it.
Yeah, and I think those smaller organizations, usually it's a financial decision, so it's a budget issue. But I think the return on investment, when you really begin to pour into your leaders, I think it is trackable. I mean, financially, I think it makes sense, but I think on the front end, it really, I think, is hard to justify it when you're trying to make ends meet.
It's a hard pill to swallow.
Yeah, it is. But I think I've been around this space long enough to know that, the return on your investment when you begin to invest in your people, specifically your leaders, I mean, it really is hard to put a number on.
One of the things too is, like, if your company is investing in your future and you're, giving you, these trainings and stuff like that, it makes you feel like they want you.
Absolutely.
They want you to do well. They're not just, taking you for granted or whatever. And, I think that's an important aspect of it just in general, is like, hey, we care about you as an employee and we want you to do well. So here's some skills that you can learn that's going to help you do well and do better. And we're investing in you. Yeah,
you're spot on, Carl. I mean, I think, when you look at the marketplace today, I think retention is a buzzword that we talk about, but we just live in a day and a time where people are not staying around an organization for 3 decades like in the past. And so I think there has to be other things that are going to keep them rooted. And I believe what you just spoke to is a huge retention factor, that when someone feels like their organization cares enough about them as a human being that they're investing in them, they're investing in their development, they are investing in the culture and the atmosphere in the office. I think that is a component that plays into retaining the talent that we have within our organizations.
Yeah, I think that's huge, and you look at the numbers and how much it costs to train a new employee and get
Right.
them up to speed and everything like that. And, retaining employees is huge,
It
to
is.
the bottom line of a company, just to stay productive and,
It is.
keep moving forward. And
Yeah.
if you keep losing people because they don't think you care,
Yeah.
you're spending a lot of time and effort in training people to do the job versus training to develop them or create better leaders.
Yeah, I'm a huge culture person. So just, I believe that every organization has a certain feel, and I believe there's certain values that are celebrated within organizations. And I'm a huge proponent of investing in your culture, to where it's healthy, it's positive, people know what you stand for. Because I think if you can step into an environment every single day and ask your people to do that as well, and it's a positive culture, they're more likely to stay with you.
Yeah,
I believe that.
I agree too, 100%.
And I've seen it done well, and I've seen it done, not so well.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I worked for a huge company before, and they did it well.
That's awesome.
They had their own training center. They invested in their managers and their young people, and the experienced folks. Got tons of training. They delivered the training. You learn a whole lot if you have to deliver a training.
Absolutely.
No,
you're right.
And so when they ask you to do something like that, you're like, oh man, I better do this well.
Yeah.
And you can learn a lot just from that itself.
Yeah, and I think you're forced, to determine, do I really believe this?
Yeah.
And so once you've internalized, because as for me and a trainer, I can't stand up in front of a room if I don't believe what I'm about ready to say.
That's right.
So you better believe I'm on point. If I'm saying something, I've internalized it and I believe it.
Yeah, exactly. So as a side hustler,
Yeah.
What kind of things are you doing to attract clients or to find new gigs?
Well, I think that's probably why I'm listening to your podcast is to gather new ideas. But I think I'm a huge believer in that relationships matter, and so I'm really intentional about the people that I'm connecting with and the people that they can connect me with. So I think your traditional networking, though I'm probably not in a networking group, I'm always intentional about the conversations that I'm having. And so even something like this, this came through relationship.
Yep.
And so I'm just always aware of what's going on around me and the conversations that I'm in. So that's probably going to be my primary, is through relationship. Obviously, I'm trying to do my best to leverage social media to my advantage. So, LinkedIn is something that I use as a business owner. Facebook is something that I'm trying to learn how to get good at. Not that I do any Facebook, targeted ads, but I'm trying to have a presence, and I want people to know when they think Chad Doerr, they think leadership development.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
And so
That's
it's kind of developing that brand.
Yeah. How are you utilizing LinkedIn? Are you doing anything specific or special there? Or?
No, I'm just trying to be more and more consistent and putting out content that I think are going to serve people well. So whether it's articles that I read on emotional intelligence, for example, or I posted something this week about a story that kind of came out of training that I thought people would resonate with. So it's just putting out consistent content on LinkedIn that, again, it will serve them well as they consume that content. But again, it's connecting me to leadership development.
Yeah, exactly. I've been really trying to post consistently on LinkedIn for the past 3 weeks, I think.
Okay.
And I've been posting every day.
That's good.
And their algorithm's weird.
Is it?
Because
Talk to me, Carl.
I don't know how it works. It's a mystery to me, but I'm finding that the posts that I posted weeks ago are still gaining traction, and people are still reacting to them and commenting on them and things like that. So, there's two ways to sort your feed. You could sort by new, or you could just sort by like popular, I guess, or maybe it's called relevant. I don't remember what they call it, but by default, it's the popular relevant one. And so your old posts still show up to people who maybe haven't logged in for a while or things like that. So I think, making sure that you're posting consistently is super important, especially on LinkedIn, just because of the way they display their timeline to people.
Yeah. And so I think I'm stepping into that realm with you, that I'm just trying to be more and more consistent about putting out content.
Yeah, me too.
That is relevant.
I think it's helping, just to make sure people know who I am and, kind of the things that I value or find important as a headshot photographer.
Yeah.
I've been trying to touch a lot on just, personal branding or branding for companies and things like that, because, I feel like a headshot's an important part of that for anybody who's trying to put themselves out into the public.
Yeah.
And so...
Yeah, you talk about algorithms. I find it to be fascinating and confusing at the same time. I mean, and then on the Facebook side of things, I'm always it's very interesting to examine the posts that I've made that have gotten a lot of traction, and those that maybe I thought would have got a lot of traction that didn't.
It never makes sense.
It doesn't. It doesn't.
I do the same thing. I'm like, this post is amazing. One like.
Right.
I just threw this post together in 2 seconds, and it gets all the traction there.
Yeah, on Facebook, usually if my kids are in it or it's about my kids, there's a whole lot more traction.
I think so. I think people love to have like a way to relate to people like on a personal level. And, a lot of like business people say nobody wants to know about you, and things like this. But I'm not sure that's true.
No, I would totally disagree.
I think a lot of people like to say, like, hey, Chad's got kids. He's talking about them. I have kids. I can relate to what he's going through.
Exactly.
And
they want they want to know that you're a real person and that you're going through some of the same things that they're going through.
Exactly.
So, yeah, I'm a huge believer that they need to see, to some extent, the personal side.
Yeah.
Of Chad Doerr.
Yeah. Have you tried traditional networking groups?
I really haven't in this side hustle. I've been in them through the years with other organizations. The crazy story is the contact that I made with Farm Bureau some 2 or 3 years ago flowed out of a networking group that I had been involved in a whole nother industry.
Oh, okay.
But that networking group, I found my agent, Carl Paulson, gave him a little prop right there. Shout out on 502 Entrepreneurs. Yeah. But Carl Paulson, I met through a networking group years ago. I mean, we're talking probably 5-6 years ago. But when I was trying to get my foot in the door at Farm Bureau as a side hustle, I reached out to Carl and said, hey, do you know anybody in the state office there that could, that I could reach out to do some training for them? So Carl, who I met at a networking group, gave me a contact inside Farm Bureau, and the rest is history.
Yeah, no, I think that's the biggest benefit of a traditional network there. It's not necessarily like you're going to the network group to find, your clients.
Yeah.
But you're finding somebody who can give you a name that might be your client.
Yeah.
Or, just open the door to a new opportunity for you just by saying, hey, who's the right contact in your organization or an organization you used to work for or something like that. I think that's the real benefit of a traditional networking group.
But if I can be honest with you, Carl, one of the challenges for me in my side hustle is finding a networking group that's kind of outside business hours because I'm very aware that I want to give my full attention to my day job. They deserve that, and so I don't want to cheat from them. So it's finding a networking group that's either before business hours or after business hours. I've not been able to find that because, again, I see the value in a networking group like that. It's been really, really hard to kind of juggle the day job with the side hustle.
I 100% relate to that. 100%. Because
Exactly.
I agree. You know, I'm a project manager by day. You know, I don't want to give the impression or have them think that I don't care about my job because I'm going somewhere else to do something different.
Exactly.
Because that's not the case. I do care about that job. But I still want to grow my photography business.
Exactly.
And so, you know, it's tricky I try to find some that are during lunch that I can like get in and get out and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it's hard to find that. I'm sure they're out there, but maybe somebody out in podcast land can let us know where they're at in Louisville.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
And
let
we
us
can
know.
find that.
And I think for me, you know, it was very important that I was upfront with my employer that, hey, this is what I'm doing. And I needed their blessing to do that. And it had nothing to do with that I was, unsatisfied. Because, again, I feel like I've never been more aligned with my passions and my interest than I am at Farm Bureau. But I still love what I do in terms of getting out and getting into organizations or doing keynotes, that I want to do that more and more. And it just makes sense from a financial perspective. If you can have multiple streams of income,
absolutely.
Why not?
I agree.
But I think it's ethical. It's the right thing to do for them to be in the know of what I'm doing. And so that's, been very, very good.
Especially since you're kind of, in the same role.
Yeah.
Then
exactly.
I think it's very important for them to kind of know what you got going on.
Yeah.
I guess with shooting headshots and being a project manager, they're totally different.
Exactly.
And I mean, I think most people know that I do it.
Yeah.
But I don't go around work going, hey, I'm a headshot photographer and podcast host,
Right.
I don't do that. I just I expect them to see it on the internet and things like that. And that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But
That's funny.
Yeah. So, you're doing this side hustle speaking. What other things have you tried in the past?
Well, I was thinking about that this morning, and, there have been multiple, what do they call them? Multi-level marketing opportunities
the MLMs.
I know I have a lot of friends that are doing them and doing them very well. I've probably through the years jumped into 2 or 3 of those. I have and still do. I mean, I hustle on the side during spring, summer, and fall mowing yards.
Oh, do you?
Because I was in the landscaping industry for probably 7 years, like professionally working for a large organization here in Louisville. And so I would do that on the side. Again, I've got 5 kids, Carl. So I mean, you got to make money.
That's right.
And so
and I'm sure they all have expensive tastes.
Yeah, exactly. Shoe tastes and, So, I still mow yards on the side. And when I was really getting after it, I would do landscaping gigs, which I don't do that anymore. But I still mow yards. I've looked into real estate. My dad and I have, got into some real estate, or actually, not that we've got into some real estate. We've had conversations about getting into real estate, the Airbnb side of things. And so I've tried quite a bit, but I keep coming back to, just training and development and pouring into leaders because I know that is my sweet spot. But again, I'm a huge proponent, Carl, in multiple streams of income. And I do believe one day I'll be in real estate, whether it's rental, whether it's Airbnb, or just flipping houses. I want to be somebody that has multiple streams of income.
Yeah, so do I.
Yeah.
That's why I have a full-time day job.
Exactly.
I do headshots,
a couple of podcasts,
that kind of stuff. Yeah. Ideally, I can do the things that I like and have some money coming in from them.
Yeah.
And then, have some multiple streams of income where I'm not reliant or don't have all my eggs in one basket.
Yeah.
And my wife and I, we have a rental property, and it worked out for us kind of.
Okay.
She bought a condo at some point, then I moved here and we moved in together. So we had to do something with this condo.
Okay.
And so, we fixed it up,
Love
It's
it.
way nicer now than it ever was when we lived in it.
Okay.
And we rent it out, so we've got that stream of income as well. So, I think I tell her all the time I want to get into more real estate.
Yeah.
More real estate. But at the same time, it's kind of we're in the process of looking to adopt some kids.
Okay, cool.
And things like that. So it's kind of like, hey, we need to do one major thing at a time.
Okay,
Because
I get you, brother. I've adopted two children, and so I mean, I'm huge. I'm a huge adoption fan.
Oh, that's great. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're going through St. Joe's here in town.
Okay,
And we've completed all of our classes. We're officially certified through them. And
That's
so now it's
awesome.
just kind of see what happens.
wait and see.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
I remember those days, man. My daughter Emery, we adopted her when she was about 6 weeks old, and she's now 17 and a senior in high school.
Oh,
So,
wow.
but I can remember the day that we got the phone call. I remember right where I was in my bedroom when they said we have a daughter for you.
Yeah.
And that was a great day.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah.
That was a great day.
So yeah, we're anxious and excited and nervous, and
Yeah, you should.
I think
be,
all
but it's a great
the
thing.
all the emotions.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, my real estate plans are on hold until we can kind of get that
I
that
get it.
major life change out of the way,
Yeah.
and kind of get into a stable routine there. Once we understand what that's going to be like.
So, do you have kids right now?
We don't.
Okay,
no.
so your world's getting ready to change, Carl.
Absolutely, yeah. So,
Yeah.
but we're both 37.
Okay.
And so we feel like now's the right time.
The time has come.
Yep.
Yeah.
I wasn't ready when I was younger. I don't know
Sure.
how. I'm different than a lot of people, but I don't know how some of the younger folks get married and right away and have kids, because I don't think I could have handled it when I was their age.
Yeah,
But-
because it absolutely changes your life. I mean, I think even as an entrepreneur, I'm always trying to balance family life and business life, because at the end of the day, Carl, I don't want to look back and have built a successful business and not invested in my children
Right.
and my marriage.
Exactly.
And so it's that juggling routine that you're always cognizant of, that
Yeah.
at the end of the day, I'm going to step away from my business, and I hope that I've poured into my kids.
Right. And I definitely know that's going to be the challenge for me,
Yeah.
because I get so invested in the things that I do
Mm-hmm.
that I'm going to have to really learn to get invested in
Yeah.
the kids.
Yeah. I mean, I
which
know,
maybe it'll happen naturally. I don't know. But
well, and I think we say it tongue in cheek, but I think it absolutely does change your life. And that's for the better. I mean, I think it's a great thing. I love being a father, but it's a huge commitment.
you must be with 5 kids.
That's right. That's right.
So, are you still doing any of these multi-level marketing things?
No.
Or you got all of those now?
No, I'm out of all of those for the most part. One of the gigs that I forgot to tell you about that really wasn't all that successful is I went through a time in which I started an e-commerce business that
okay.
was selling like outdoor products, like fishing. Just it wasn't very successful.
Like drop shipping kind of thing?
Yes.
Or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Through AliExpress or
Yeah,
whatnot.
yeah.
And so.
Yeah, I got a couple buddies doing that as well. And, I don't think it's for me.
Yeah.
I think it's for a lot of people.
Yeah, I
And,
mean, I know a lot of people that are making money doing that.
Yeah.
I could never get it figured out. And again, I think you learn as an entrepreneur the things that come easy to you and the things that don't.
Right.
And so I kind of put that on the shelf and put my energies towards some other things.
I think I think look at this drop shipping stuff, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm like trying to figure out like how does this work the right way, and
Mm-hmm.
with Amazon,
Yeah.
that's the trick, because if you're buying from AliExpress,
Yeah.
you got 14, 20 days before they buy this
Boom.
product and it's at their house. But they
Yes.
can go on Amazon and buy it for the same price and it's there in 2 days.
If not tomorrow.
Right, if not tomorrow. So that leaves you with the option to buy a bunch of inventory
Mm-hmm.
and either fulfill the orders yourself
Mm-hmm.
or you send them to Amazon to do the fulfillment for you. and then your product is competing with the same product multiple times through Amazon. And so...
And that was the struggle for us. And I know that, and again, this was a couple of years ago that I was dabbling in this. I think, at that time, AliExpress was actually thinking of setting up some, I guess, warehouses or supply centers in the States that was going to try to cut down a lot of that. But
they do have some now, because I look at products on there from time to time just to, kill some time or something. Maybe I should try this, but I never do. But, some of them will have the option to ship from the United States.
Okay.
But it's still not a day or 2 days like Amazon.
Yeah, you're right. And Amazon has changed the game and has really established a standard in our minds that we can get it, we can get it next day, or we can get it in 2 days, and it's free shipping. I mean, it's just crazy what Amazon Prime has done.
It is. They've really changed everything.
They really have.
E-commerce is just it's
crazy.
So speaking of e-commerce, I'm going to throw this out there now. My buddies who we were talking about, their company is called Unbound Sounds.
Okay.
And we actually just partnered with them. They're going to give away a free set of Bluetooth headphones to one listener. The contest is going to go through February. And to register, you just got to go to 502entrepreneurs.com and subscribe to the email list.
Cool.
And you automatically get entered.
Awesome.
So
I'm in, brother.
Yep. So that's a good segue to talk about that.
Yeah, a little shout out.
So let's see. Tell me what you got coming up in the future here.
Yeah, one of the things that I'm probably putting most of my energies towards right now is I have a one-day leadership event that I'm hosting called Level Up, and it's going to be a 9 to 3 gig at the Hyatt Place over off of Hurstbourne. Okay. And I'm just inviting people that are wanting to grow as leaders and kind of go to that next level. We've got an entire day planned that we're going to get together and talk about things like really emotional intelligence, or communication, interpersonal communication, building trust with those that you lead. We're going to have a lunch together, a Q&A session. It's just going to be an amazing day. So it's called Level Up, and it's a one-day conference that I'm hosting. So it's kind of a different model than I've done in the past, because as I told you, all the times I'm getting out into organizations, I'm going into their conference rooms and I'm setting up training there. But in this instance, we've got a conference room there at the Hyatt Place, and we're inviting people to come and spend the day with us.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's something that I'm really, really excited about.
Are you reaching out to different corporations and people and saying, hey, I'm doing this?
Brother, everybody I know.
Yeah.
So whether it's former clients or, I'm just reaching out to people that I've done life with, and asking them if they can introduce me to a decision maker in their organization. It's very organic in that regards, but I'm really pushing it because I believe in what we're going to do. I believe it's going to be an amazing day, and I believe that the investment that they'll make in themselves as leaders is going to be well worth it. And I believe it can change the game for a leader.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
How many people can you fit?
About 40. So I mean, it's going to be a rather intimate. Yeah. Which I'm pretty. That's my flow is as a trainer, as a communicator, I'm very intimate in that regards, and so I would welcome that size of crowd.
So anybody who's listening and wants to learn more, where do they learn more about that?
Well, I would encourage them. I've set up an Eventbrite page, and that Eventbrite page is going to have all the information that they'll need and the ability to register. You'll probably get that best by either going to my LinkedIn page, my Facebook page. They can go to my website, chaddoerr.com, and that's Doerr. We were talking about that before the post. It's not spelled like it sounds, but chaddoerr.com. Or they can even go to Eventbrite, and if they search for Level Up, it's going to be the first thing that pops up. But that Eventbrite page has all the information that they will need in terms of just topics. And, we've even got a block of rooms for people that are coming in
Oh,
out
great.
of town and things like that. So, yeah, super, super stoked about that.
And what day is that?
That is April 10th. Thank you for asking. April 10th. It is a Friday, and it's actually Good Friday, Carl.
Oh.
So I'm really I didn't know that when I booked it, but in retrospect, I was like, yeah, that'll work, man. It is going to be a Good Friday.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Well, that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so cool to see, like, actually putting together your own event and, kind of trying to create some momentum there by yourself and not kind of relying on a corporation or somebody to bring you in.
Yeah, it's a different model. Again, I've done hundreds and hundreds of trainings through the years, but I've never really done an event like this to where I kind of set up a tent and called people to come and spend the day with me. So again, I'm really excited.
What's the biggest challenge of it so far?
I think it's the sales side of it. I don't feel like I'm a salesman, and so I'm that's probably the greatest challenge that I have is actually getting people in the room, because I know in terms of the day that we have planned, it's going to be, beyond valuable, but it's, just selling the registrations and getting people in the room. So, but even that, Carl, has been fun because it's a challenge that I've set before myself is, okay, we've set the date, let's go fill the room.
Right.
So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, by far that is the greatest challenge, because I don't see myself as a salesman. I just never have been that. I know who I am, but again, I think when you have a product, and in this case, it's an event, it's a conference. When you have a product that you believe in, you need to have confidence to sell that thing.
Yeah. I find, from talking to people and conversations and things like that, there's like two types of like entrepreneurs out there, right? They're the ones who are really good at sales.
Yeah.
And then there's the ones that are really good at the fulfillment.
You're right.
But aren't great at sales. And I'm the second one. Like I think I do. I can deliver a pretty good product that I'm proud of, and people like and things like that. But I'm not the best sales guy out there. Pitching myself and things like that. And,
you're right, and I'm in that camp as well. But I do believe that as business owners, we have to be good at both. I just had a conversation last week with a new friend of mine, and he was very transparent and honest with me. He said, I'm incredible at making the sale. I can sell anything, but where I struggled was on the fulfillment side. And so, again,
so maybe you need to partner with a guy like that.
Exactly. Believe me, I've thought about that, Carl. But I do. I want to be well balanced as a business owner and as an entrepreneur. And it's not that I can't sell, because I've done that, but I have to stretch myself and become better at selling my services and what I do.
I'm the same way.
Yeah, because I do believe in my product. I mean, I've done it long enough to know that I am actually good at it, and I get results, and people that will invest in that day on April 10th are going to walk away feeling like they have a return on their investment.
Right.
So I've just got to tell that story.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So how long you been in Louisville now?
I moved to Louisville in 2007.
Okay.
So
So math,
like 13 years. I'm not real good at math. Come on, man. But so about 13 years. My daughter and I relocated to Louisville, and it really has been a great experience. I love the city of Louisville. I love the people here in Louisville. But to be honest with you, I've been able to thrive wherever you plop me down.
Yeah.
So you can put me in Texas. I'm in rural parts of Texas, I'm going to survive and probably thrive. Or you could drop me downtown Louisville, and I'm going to love it as well.
What's your favorite spot around town?
Well, I want to give shout out to my brother-in-law who owns Cafe Lulu. And he has a new restaurant in St. Matthews called Diamond Street Grub. And Hops, and his name's Jared Matthews. But I love his restaurants, and so I love to frequent there in terms of restaurants. But in terms of probably my favorite places, my wife and I love to go down to the walking bridge downtown. I just love that. I love being around the water. I believe that Louisville has a beautiful city. I really do. And
I
so
do too.
just kind of being downtown and getting that urban feel, but being next to the river and getting to walk back and forth. So that's probably one of my favorite spots.
Yeah, it's a cool place for sure. And now the view of the amazing soccer stadium that's going up is pretty crazy.
I was
from the
just
bridge
by
too.
there. I just passed by, I think last week, and saw they have the turf in, and man, it's gorgeous.
Yeah, they're ready to go. I'm a season ticket holder.
Are you really?
Yeah, and so they're giving tours now to all the season ticket holders and stuff like that. And I think the first match is going to be April 7th.
Okay.
Over there.
So 3 days before my conference, man. That's exciting. So I love how it's open to the expressway. So as you're driving by, you can like see right into.
Yeah. Hopefully, like, they have these huge video boards now, right? And the one faces the highway.
Okay.
And so hopefully, like, people aren't rubbernecking too much where they're like causing an accident or something there. But
I'm sure there's going to be some rubbernecking, but I'm excited. I'm not a huge soccer fan, but I love sports, and I think it's great for the city of Louisville. So I'm just excited that they have that new stadium.
Have you been to any of the games?
I haven't.
You got to go to one.
I really do.
I find a lot of people say I'm not a big soccer fan because it's not the most popular sport in America by any means. But I think once you go to a game and you kind of experience the atmosphere and stuff like that, then you're probably not going to watch soccer on TV, but you're going to go to more games just because you had a good time.
Oh, absolutely.
And stuff like that.
I would love the opportunity to go because what I have seen is they have a passionate fan base.
Yeah.
And again, I think it's just great for the city of Louisville.
Yep, definitely.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this.
Yeah.
If you had to do any other job besides the one you're doing now, what do you think you would do?
Wow. Well, since you didn't ask me, do I have the skill sets for it?
Exactly.
I think what I would like to do is I love graphic design.
Oh, yeah.
I absolutely, and I do get to dabble around in it, whether it's, working on promotional pieces for my business or the conference. I mean, I get to dabble around on Adobe Spark and things like that. But I think if I was not developing leaders, I think I would love to really become more skilled in graphic design. I think I would really, really enjoy that because I have an eye for it. I'm not real good at it, but I do have an eye for the aesthetic. My dad owned a printing company for 15 years. So I think I grew up around that and saw, just that side of things. So I haven't given too much thought to that, but honestly, if I was not doing what I'm doing, if I could roll back the clock, I might,
might get into graphic design.
Yeah.
It's pretty popular field these days.
It is.
There's a lot of people doing it and a lot of people making a pretty good living doing it.
Yeah. But I've never seen myself as a creative in that respects. I mean, that's what I love about Adobe Spark is I can take somebody else's idea and kind of morph it and make it my own. But I've never, in terms of being the originator of the idea, that's not necessarily my strength, but I do have an eye for it and can recognize good graphic design.
Yeah. Graphic design is just in branding yourself or your company or things like that. It's one of the first things people see.
It is.
Besides maybe your face.
Yeah.
But it's important to have a well done logo / color scheme.
I wholeheartedly agree.
All that stuff.
And I've always wanted to avoid, cheesy logos or, graphics or just bad design because I do believe it represents your brand. And so what is your design communicating about, about you and your organization? And I think it's a big deal.
Yeah, me too. So what are you currently interested in or learning about, or like what's been occupying your mind lately besides business or leadership?
So I don't know. I think from a business perspective, I mean, I've been giving more thought and energy towards marketing and just what that looks like and really analyzing copy and things like that. I mean, I've got some friends of mine that are far more advanced in that. I think even Charlie Sims who you had on this podcast earlier. I mean, I'm just learning from guys like that. I think, in terms of just from a personal perspective, probably over the last 9 months, I've really just tried to examine my life as a whole and say, I want to make sure that every part of me is growing and advancing and expanding. And so whether that's, my body, and really watching what I'm eating and exercise, whether it's my faith or whether it's my relationship with my wife. And so I've kind of stepped into this realm with some friends of mine in which we're really kind of tracking that kind of thing and holding one another accountable. So, I mean, that's something that I'm giving some new energy towards.
Yeah.
And honestly, it's been very, very healthy for me.
That's good.
Because I feel like I have a handle on my life as a whole, not just as a business owner, not just as a father, but my whole life. Because I think sometimes you can get locked in
it's easy
on being a business owner,
yeah.
and that's like you're really crushing it there, but then you look and you've like gained 20 pounds.
Right.
Or, I know a lot of guys that, their business is doing very, very well, but their marriage is falling apart. And I don't want to be that guy. Like, I want to be a guy that is balanced and is giving adequate energy to all the things that I say are important to me.
Right. And that's a hard thing to do.
Yeah, no, it is. And so I'm grateful for what I've been able to step into with some friends of mine in terms of we just are having conversations and we meet together on a regular basis, and we have some technology in place to where we're able to track those things that we say are important. And so I don't know, it's something new for me within the last 9 months that really has been a game changer.
Well, that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of, I was telling you about the coffee we do at the lodge.
Yeah.
And, we sort of kind of do a similar thing. And, we talk about whatever comes to our mind.
Right.
But, it started out as like business kind of just get together and bounce ideas off each other. Mm-hmm. And then it's like, we talk about family a lot and, different things like that. And, just having people you can chat with and talk about that. And, someone who's going to follow up with you at some point in time and say, hey, what happened to this?
Yeah.
Makes a big deal.
No, I agree, Carl. And I think especially as one who has 5 kids and I'm married, I think was many times in my life that I said, I just don't have time for a lot of extra relationships.
Yeah.
I mean, because it is hard with 5 kids and their activities and just the logistics of getting them to and from, that I think you can easily tell yourself, I don't have time to go have coffee with those guys, or I don't have time to get in that group. And I guess what I'm finding, Carl, is that it's been a great investment. And so as I invest in that group, then I'm able to honestly have more energy to give away in the other areas.
Well, that's great.
There's been some really good synergy in that regard.
Yeah. So if you had to give anybody who's listening a piece of advice,
wow,
what would you give them?
If I had to give anybody some advice, wow. Can I give 2 pieces of
Sure, yeah.
So number one, I would just say value relationship and do it well. So just care about the people that you're going to be in relationship with, both in business and outside of business. Because I think if you care about people and you really care about relationships, great things happen and great things flow out of that. So that would be my first piece of advice. And then I think the second piece of advice, and I think we could probably talk about this for an hour, but I think the second piece of advice is, I think, approach everything that you do with excellence and give everything that you have in that moment. Because I think about some of the gigs that I've done through the years. I mean, there's been times that I've done talks for 5 people. And I've stood in front of 500 people as well. But I want to be able to give my same energy and same sense of excellence when I'm stepping in front of 5 people as I am 500.
Yeah.
And if I can tell you a story, I told you that it was kind of through my side gig that I got the opportunity to work for Farm Bureau.
Right.
And in the days and weeks leading up to the gig that actually got me the full-time opportunity, I was putting a lot of extra energy and hours into this presentation that I was going to deliver for Farm Bureau, to the point that my wife was like, "What are you doing, and how much are they paying you to do this?" And I had no idea in that moment, Carl, that when I stepped into that presentation, that by the end of that presentation, they would offer me a job.
Right.
So the moral of the story was, you never know what's going to come out of that. So approach every project, every opportunity. So in your world, as a headshot photographer, you have no idea when you absolutely crush an engagement for somebody that's unknown, that they might not be related to somebody that owns a company here in Louisville that's going to hire you to come in and do their whole organization and do, 50 headshots. And so I just think my encouragement would be, take everything that you do and give it everything that you have. Approach it with a sense of excellence. And again, in my world, whether it's 5 people or 500, I want to give them the same energy that I would give to anybody.
Yeah, no, I think that's great advice.
That's served me well.
Yeah.
Through the years.
Yeah, I mean, those 5 people deserve.
They absolutely do.
What those 500 people get.
Absolutely.
So.
But I think sometimes our mind can play tricks on us. And so we'll cut corners for this group,
right,
knowing that we got to hit a home run over here. And I would say hit a home run for the 5, because like you just said, they're worth it as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's like I don't know, with my headshots, like my goal every shoot is to give somebody the best photo they've ever seen of themselves.
Yeah.
And if we don't get there, then it's a big disappointment for the both of us.
Yeah.
And so I'll do everything I can, to make sure we do that. So.
Yeah. So just hearing that slogan, it makes me want to get, wants to go over there and get a headshot.
Exactly. So, well, last question for you. And you said you were afraid of this one. But
okay.
How do you keep it weird?
I gave thought to that because I know that's kind of your thing. I think this is how I'll phrase that, because I don't think that I'm too weird, but I'm going to keep it weird by being kind and being, let me say this, I'm going to keep it weird by being optimistic, that I feel like I have this ability to be optimistic in any situation. So, that has served me well. And some people think it's weird.
Some people do think that's weird.
Yeah, like, what the heck? Like, the world is falling in on you. Why are you so optimistic? They think it's a little weird. But again, I think it's something that has served me well through life, and maybe it's made me a little weird. So I'm going to take that weirdness wherever I go.
That reminds me of the Seinfeld episode where, Jerry, everything balances out for him. He loses $20 and he finds $20 in his pocket because he's just he thinks everything's just gonna work out. And it's so. Yeah,
it's maybe a little bit annoying to my wife and kids, but that's how I'm gonna keep it weird.
Yeah, that's funny. All right, Chad, I appreciate you being here.
Man, Carl, it's been fun.
Why don't you let everybody know where they can find you again?
Yeah, so once again, you can find me on LinkedIn, on Facebook under Chad Doerr. That last name is spelled Doerr. You can also go to my website at chaddoerr.com. And again, if you want to register for the Level Up Conference, you can go to either one of those platforms or go to Eventbrite and just search for Level Up Conference.
All right.
So it's been great to be with you, Carl.
I
love
enjoyed
what you're doing. I love 502, and I love what you're doing for the entrepreneurs in this city.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
All right, Chad. Appreciate it. Thanks.
Yeah. All right, Carl.
Thanks for listening to 502 Entrepreneurs. You can find our site online at www.502entrepreneurs.com. Subscribe to our email list to be entered into the February contest. And don't forget to subscribe to us wherever you listen to your podcasts. Thanks again.